Hi guys, in this video I want to talk to you a little bit about farming and gear level. Now this is a situation that I've been asked about a lot, and I feel that it's very important to discuss the interaction between the auction house, farming, and your level as you get higher in the game. This particular character is a level 37 wizard, and I'm just going to show you my gear really quick. So in the first part of the game, in normal mode, the first 4 acts, you can survive off of the gear you find. Occasionally you might need to upgrade something through the auction house or a merchant, but 90% of the time the stuff you find just playing the game normally, not even farming particularly hard, will get you through the game. When you get into nightmare mode, it gets a little tougher. It's not substantially tougher, but a little bit tougher enough that I want to discuss it with you. And by the time you reach hell and inferno mode, it's basically necessity that you spend a lot of time farming for gold and then using that gold to buy gear for your character. Of course, you can cheat. You can use your credit card and buy items directly from the real money auction house. I don't necessarily recommend that, especially not this early in the game's life cycle and with the real money auction house being so new, as the prices fluctuate a lot. Although if you see a good deal on something that you know is worth a lot more, feel free to grab it, if nothing else to flip it for a profit. So, again, this is my character, the level 37 wizard, and I am a little under-geared on a few slots, but as you can see, most of my items at this point are rare, and they're all level 25 or higher, meaning they were from end of regular mode or beginning of Act 1 in Nightmare mode. Okay, as you've probably already noticed, what weapon you carry as a caster, a wizard in particular, or a witch doctor, has almost no impact because you're not going to be doing any melee damage. So what you want to look for then, of course, is an item with the specific stats you want. In boosting damage, boosting intelligence, and in this case I have the hit adding life, which is a very fantastic way to keep yourself alive. As you can see too, most of these items have 4 or 5 abilities attached to them, plus strength, plus dexterity, plus intelligence, regenerating life, taking enemies taking damage when they hit you, experience boosts. All these things are great. They all add a lot of, they help you not only level up faster, but stay alive longer. And for the most part, you're going to find that the items have enough variety in them that you don't need to have different sets of armor for different kinds of bosses and mobs. When you reach Inferno mode, that might change. You might find that a specific item just isn't going to cut it. Maybe you need a lot more intelligence and you don't necessarily need to convert life. Maybe you need all durability and hits converting to life. It's really going to depend on what you're facing. Most of the character classes are going to use whatever specific stat is associated with them. In this case, the wizard is intelligence. Your barbarians are going to want strength. Your demon hunters are going to want dexterity. It should be pretty self-evident what's useful to whom. So, in this particular case, as you can see, I have a decent collection of gear. It's all just a little bit under the proper level. I might want to level up a few of these slots just to get just a tad more strength, just to keep myself a little bit alive. But some of these are good. Most of them are effective. Because they're rare, they're higher powered than just a magic find. Like that's not necessarily a good example. But like this, for example, the Warlock Spark is a rare source. It's great. It's a little less damage, but it's got intelligence, vitality, and the slot, which we've already filled with the gem. And the weapons are good. The amulets are good. Okay, so I'm just going to pop out real quick, and we're going to look at the auction house because I want to show you the options you have. Okay, I'm going to open the auction house. Yeah, you can always pop over to the Sell tab and take a look at the items you have. This is my stash here. I don't need to look at that necessarily. Okay. And while I do like the auto search, I don't necessarily think you should restrict yourself just to this. So we'll just do a quick search and see what it spits out at us real quick. Alright, so we have a lot of results here that I don't necessarily, well, we can't afford, first off. 6 million gold, 300,000 gold, it's pushing it. So let's drop the rarity down to just rare. We don't need any legendary items while we're leveling because they're only good for so long. Okay. Now, and remember, it doesn't have to be a wand, it doesn't have to be anything in particular. You can use swords, those are fine. And we're just going to look for something that's affordable, offers slightly higher DPS. Alright, it's a bit of a mess right there. Let's take a look at another slot, because the weapon here is actually pretty good for this particular level, especially with the amount of gold we have, which is not a whole lot. So let's look at a slot that is a lot further behind. Let's say, okay, the shoulders are only level 19. So let's take a look at shoulders. Okay, and we have rare, and we're going to search. Okay, and we just want it up to level, let's say, 35, or 37. We're level 37. We'll do level 37, search. Okay, flip the buyout. See if we can find things that we can afford. Let's set the max buyout actually. It's 50,000. Okay. Okay. And as you can see, it's not necessarily always easy to find things because people do overprice. It messes up the results. So you really need to fill in as many of these spots as you can. So we're even going to drop this a little bit more. So I don't really want to spend 50,000 gold on shoulders. Alright, here's a couple good examples. We have 137 armor, which in this case would be 72 more than we already have, which is fantastic. So, okay. The problem, of course, there is that the stats are not necessarily what we want. It's strength, dexterity, and poison resistance. So you can find something with intelligence. Alright. So this is probably a pretty good bet, and it's only 5,000. What it's actually worth, it's hard to tell at this point. We don't have a good database of values. We do know that a lot of things are overpriced. If you keep your max buyout down, you're more likely to find things that people posted at reasonable prices, sometimes even very low prices, depending on what you can afford. Okay. So I like these other ones. We're going to go ahead and go with the Skirmishing Bulwark. And it's not picture perfect for a wizard, but it is quite good for 5,000. And let's do a quick buyout. Oh, we took a little too long, it looks like. Let's do another search. Alright. Twisted Guard, 4,000. We have 50 intelligence, it's pretty good. Okay. And again, we could always switch, if you have cash, if you want to buy these in cash instead, switch to the Real Money Auction House, run the same search. $7. And we get similar items all for around $3, $4, $5. So, if you have $3 or $4, $5, and you'd rather spend that than the 5,000 gold, have at. Alright. So we're going to go back into the game.
It is good to fight with you again.
open our stash. Find them shoulders. Oops. Alright, and we have an upgrade. More armor. Voila! This is not necessarily something you have to do all the time. It's the reason I'm showing you this now, and this is a nightmare character, and I've been doing just fine. I might need a couple upgrades when I reach bosses. Throughout the game, you're going to find you need upgrades when you reach bosses. But in this particular case, the reason that it's so important that I show you before you reach Hell, especially before you reach Hell, is that at a certain point, you're not going to be able to go from one story session to the next. You're not going to be able to go from one part of the act to the next part of the act without upgrading your gear. In some cases, you're just going to be farming for a few hours to get the gold to buy your gear. Or level up a little bit more. Again, you can always take shortcuts. You can always pay cash. There's other people out there farming things. You can take advantage of that. But if you don't have a credit card with a $10,000 limit, that's not always an option. So that is at a glance what you're going to be doing. Farming is also an option. You'll find most of the gear you need really off people when you're farming. It just takes a lot longer, of course, which is for a lot of people an issue if you don't have the time to play. So enjoy, be wise, don't spend gold on things you don't need, don't get overzealous, and you should do well.